Bible says in 1 Timothy 1:8.
But we know that the law is good.
We know that the law is good.
If a man use it lawfully.
If a man use it right.
Lawfully.
When he use it right, there'll never be racial profiling.
That's right.
Never.
That's right.
You see a car with about 4 black men, and you see a car with about 5 or 6 white men.
Yes.
You won't pull over the black car with just 4 fellas.
That's right.
Because you think they up to nothing. I remember when we first bought our old headquarters, Frankfort Avenue. We was going to work every day. I remember my brother Rick, and I think it was about 5 brothers in the car. We was going down Hunting Park Avenue, and a police car was coming up, and an unmarked car. And I was driving a Mercedes at the time, and a Mercedes, it was an equation. Mercedes plus 5 black men equal pullover. It was an equation. So the unmarked car came down, 2 white officers, and they were just looking. And I deliberately slowed down. I remember my brother Rick say, "Gene, why you slow down?" I said, "Did you see the unmarked car?" I said, "No." I said, "I slowed down so he can catch up with me." And so help me. And I slowed down. He made a U-turn in the middle of the street. Lights on. Pull on my bumper. I pulled over, let the window down. He said, "Why you slow down?" I said, "I was waiting on you." He said, "You was waiting on me?" I said, "Yeah, it's irresistible for you being a white bigot cop. You just can't resist pulling over Mercedes full of a bunch of black fellas because you just assume we got drugs."
Right.
He said, "Well, do you?" I said, "Now, if I did, do you think I would say yes?"
Amen.
I popped the trunk open. I said, "Check the trunk." He said, "No, you all right." I said, "No, check the trunk. Amen. Do your job." In other words, I called his bluff.
That's right.
I remember back in the 90s, I took a plane to go to Memphis, Tennessee, me and my brother Rick. We was just starting going back and forth to Memphis. And we were sitting there, airport was packed. You know, when I travel on the plane, I'm always in a suit and tie all the time, unless I'm going overseas. And at the time, Rick was carrying the radio deck that we used to record. And we were sitting down. Officer came over, whipped his badge out. He had on a regular suit. You would never know as an officer. Out of all these people in the airport. And just so happened, me and Rick was the only 2 black ones there. He came and sat, big old cop. He was so big, he sat on the chair and raised the chair up. He weighed so much. Whipped his badge out. He said, "Are you fellas going somewhere?" I looked at him. I said, "I'm not in the airport for fun." He said, "Do you mind if I check your radio?" I set it down. I said, "Go ahead." He said, "We can go in the room somewhere." I said, "You didn't come in the room to come at us, did you?" I said, "If you want to check it, check it." He said, "Would you open it up?" I said, "You don't want to check it. We know what's in there. You open it up."
Amen.
He said, "I don't mean to be confrontational." I said, "Then stop talking and open it up." He said, "I prefer we go in a private place." I said, "I prefer we don't go in a private place." He said, "Don't you trust me?" I said, "Why would I trust somebody I don't know?"
Right.
He said, "You got a mouth." I said, "I don't see you shutting up either." In other words, I'm a free man.
Right.
And I knew the plantation days was over.
That's right.
And I opened my mouth wide as I want.
That's right.
Why did I respond like this? Because I knew my rights.
That's right.
The law
That's right.
is good.
But we know that the law is good.
When what?
If a man use it lawfully.
Use it lawful.
Lawfully. Lawfully.
When you use it lawful, you don't abuse your power, you don't abuse your authority, and you don't misuse it,
That's
even
right.
down to your authority in the pulpit.
Yeah.
Even in your authority in a position in church or on the job.
That's right.
You don't do something just because you can do it.
Do it. Amen.
Power is not given to be abused.
That's right.
Power is not given to be misused.
Yeah.
You don't have an appetite to be a minister because you want to boss somebody.
Boss somebody.
Go get a job and become a foreman.
That's right.